geometry students, it's Mrs. Thompson. We are going to kickstart our Flipping the Classroom this year. We're going to do it again. You did it last year with me in algebra, and now we're going to do it in geometry as well. So we're going to kick it off with chapter 1. We're in section 1. We're going to talk about some very, very basic terms that you're going to hear all year long in geometry. So our objective through this whole section for section 1.1, we want to identify, name, and draw points, lines, segments, rays, and planes. We want to apply basic facts about these points, lines, and planes. And so that'll be probably later. We want to learn the basics now in this first example, and then in later examples we'll start applying. Okay? So let's start with the very first term, a point. This names a location. It has no definite size. It's represented by a dot. And we use a capital letter, so underline that. And then let me demonstrate this under the diagram. Just draw a point, and then you put a capital letter beside it. So whatever you want to call it. Your book calls it point P, and that's what we'll do too. We'll just kind of follow suit. So a point, remember, does not have a definite size. You can see the point like I just drew. It could be significantly smaller, significantly bigger. It really doesn't have a definite size. And we use a dot. Let's underline or circle the word dot. That's going to be really important to remember as we're diagramming these things. Okay, the next term is a line. This is a straight path. Does not take a left turn or a right turn. It's straight. It has no thickness and extends forever in either direction. That's a line, technically a line. We use a lowercase letter or 2 points on the line. Let me demonstrate that to you. When you draw a line, make sure, first of all, that it's straight, that it can be angled. You know, it doesn't have to be perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical. It can be at any angle, but straight. And you can put 2 points on it and name it that way. So let's put 2 points on it. I don't care how far apart they are. You can name this line XY, or you can use an italicized letter. And a lot of times in geometry, sorry about that, you'll see italicized L. They'll do a loopy L versus a straight line that would look like a 1. They'll do the loopy L. Almost looks like a breast cancer ribbon or a ribbon that they use to represent cancer. And they'll use that to call it that as well. So anyway, just wanted to point that out to you, that a line has no thickness, extends forever in either direction. So let's circle the word straight, okay? And we're going to see arrows on either end of a line. That's technically a line. If you don't see arrows, that would be a segment. So a little bit different there. All right, the third point here, the third term is a plane. This is a flat surface that has no thickness and extends forever in all directions. That's a plane. When you're in a classroom like I am right now, the 4 walls that make up the classroom are planes. There are 4 planes in here. The ceiling, the floor would be a plane. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea. This one's kind of weird. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to draw this very well. A script, capital letter. You could look in your book and see what that looks like. I'll try and demonstrate that to the best of my ability. Or you're going to identify it using 3 points that don't form a line. They cannot be on the same line. 2 of them could. Any 2 points forms a line, of course, but you don't want all 3. That doesn't form a plane. They need to be not in a straight line for it to be a plane. Okay, so in your book, how they kind of do like a little parallelogram, and then kind of like this. And then they put in here, you know, just 3 random points. So we'll do this one A, we'll call this one B, we'll call this one C. And then in one corner, and it doesn't matter which corner, they do like a script looking R. So I'm going to try and do kind of like a little cursive R, you know, to kind of show that. You can call this plane R, like that. Or you could call it plane ABC, just like this. Okay, so it's a little bit technical. You do need to be precise. The precision in this is important. We're not going to include R with our A, B, and C. You're either going to use the script letter, the one script letter for that plane, and call it plane R, or you're going to use 3 points that are not on the same line and call plane, in this case, ABC. Okay? So let's keep moving down. Points that lie on the same line, we call this collinear. We're going to use 2 L's, okay? Collinear, that's what it is. And on the line that I drew, we would say that line X and Y are collinear, okay? Now points that don't lie on the same line, we would just put a non in front of that. That negates it, so you would say non-collinear. Non negates whatever the word actually means. So it means the opposite of it. And then finally, points that lie in the same plane, yep, you got it, coplanar. Okay, notice how I spelled that at the end of plane, instead of ER, we're going to do AR, coplanar with an A. Notice that. I do want to point that out to you for precision. And then, of course, remember, how do we negate points that do not lie in the same plane? Yep, non-coplanar. Good job. All right, good job. So non-coplanar. All right, let's flip to the next page and do some examples now that we've got some basic ideas, some basic definitions here. For example 1, there's a picture out here to the side that I want you to focus on, okay? Name 4 coplanar points. Now, if you're looking for coplanar, and there's 4 of them, we do need to locate planes. Now, I do agree with you that right here, this ABC is a plane, but there's only 3 points. So we really can't use that one. Here in the parallelogram looking, I can't verify that's a parallelogram, but it appears to be close to one. There are 4 points that form that plane. And so when we're identifying them, we want to just, you can do them in any order. So here's K, L, M, and N. All lie in plane R. And there's that scripty R. See how they put a little circle around it to kind of make it stand out, so they're not showing you that that's a name of a point. They're really showing like this different script looking letter. So it does stand out, I hope, at least to you. All right, now we're supposed to name 3 lines. Now lines, remember, extend in either direction into infinity. So remember, when you're looking for lines, you are looking for arrows, okay? Let's start doing that now, and I'll show you a little bit of symbolism you can use to denote lines. We're going to focus up here with the triangle, right there, okay? Because that's where the parallelogram looking thing, plane R, that particular plane doesn't show lines. It shows segments. Definitely, that's true. But only that triangular structure shows actual lines, okay? So when you do lines, the symbol that we use, we're going to use 2 letters. Sorry about that. It is Saturday. I'm not sure why that bell went off. We are going to use 2 letters. And so let's start with AB. So you're going to put AB together. Okay, just like this, side by side, and then across the top, you're going to show a horizontal line with arrow heads going in either direction. That is the proper way to show line AB. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let's do AC. And we'll do the same thing. Just put AC together. You could have written CA, Even for the first one, you could have done BA. It doesn't matter which letter is first, in all honesty, okay? And then the last one, you could either write CB or BC. So whatever order makes sense to you is how you should write it. Okay, so that's how we write lines. Okay, if we're naming points, we're going to use the letter for each point. If we're doing lines, we're going to do 2 letters. Unless there's an italicized letter, then we'll put line and then that italicized letter. 2 letters with a double arrow line above it. And now let's name 2 planes. We don't have a lot of wiggle room here. Remember, you have to use the word plane. Okay, and then you need at least 3 letters. So for the bottom one, we could use that script letter, just like this, and call that plane R. Or for that same plane, we could pick 3 letters, and it doesn't matter what those 3 letters are to identify it. You could pick 3 letters. So we could say, well, KLM, or you could have said LNN, MNK, you know, something like that for that bottom one. The top one doesn't have a script letter, so we're just going to use the 3 letters that are there. So we'll call that plain ABC. So it really doesn't matter what the order of the letters are, as long as they're sequential and that they actually are, you're not bouncing around. Like for the bottom one, I wouldn't call it NLM or KML. I wouldn't do that necessarily. I think I would stay sequential. Okay, so that's it for example 1. We learned how to name a point, how to name a line, how to name a plane. So those are very key. We're building on top of this. So thanks for listening. We'll jump into example 2 in the next video.